Welcome to Daily Overdose.
Life changes every day. Sometimes things will be going your way. Sometimes things work well for you. Sometimes it won't work so well. Sometimes you'll have your health, you're feeling good and energetic, have a yes, I can attitude. And there's some things that can happen to you in life that can take all of that from you. All of that can go. Sometimes you might be financially secure and a sickness. One sickness can wipe out an illness. Life always changes. But you can choose in the midst of all of this that's going on to be happy in spite of it. In the good times and in the bad times, you can make a choice. Viktor Frankl, he talks about that. He said the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Douglas Matlock has a poem I love entitled, It's Fine Today. He said, sure, this world is full of trouble. I ain't said it ain't. Lord, I've had enough and double reason for complaint. Rain and storm have come to fret me. Skies are often gray. Thorns and brambles have beset me on the road. But say, ain't it fine today? What's the use of always weeping, making trouble last? What's the use of always keeping thinking of the past? Each must have his tribulation, water with his wine. Life, it ain't no celebration. Trouble, I've had mine, but today is fine. It's today that I'm living, not a month ago, having, losing, taking, giving, as time wills it so. Yesterday, a cloud of sorrow fell across the way. It may rain again tomorrow. It may rain, but say, ain't it fine today? If a cloud of sorrow comes over here, ain't it fine today? Living in the moment, getting everything we can out of where we are in the moment where we are right now, living in the present. The other thing is willingness to let people and things go. Want to live a life of fulfillment. You've got to be willing to let certain people go in your life, especially if they want to go. When they're no longer good for you, just let them go. Just to hold on tenaciously really doesn't make really good sense, all right? Just many times we do it because we don't realize that we might desire it, but we don't need it. And ladies and gentlemen, you've got to be willing to risk. If you're not willing to risk, you can't grow in life. Life has no power when you're not willing to risk. Somebody wrote this and it was given to me. It said, to laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to risk appearing sentimental. To reach out for another is to risk involvement. To expose feelings is to risk exposing your true self. To place your ideas, your dreams before a crowd is to risk their loss. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risk must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing, does nothing, has nothing, is nothing. They may avoid suffering and sorrow, but they cannot learn, feel, change, grow, love, and live. Chained by their certitudes, they are a slave. They have forfeited their freedom. Only a person who risks is free. Next thing is face the truth about life and deal with it. And a lot of people, when someone in their life that they love very much dies, they allow it to take such a toll on them. They make themselves miserable, and they literally will themselves to die early because they feel without this person they have nothing to look forward to. And no, life has other opportunities, other relationships, other experiences for us. And the people that we love really want us to go on. Other thing is, things are going to happen to you. Here, in order to have a fulfilling life, knowing that things are going to happen. Expect the unexpected. Whatever happens to you, use everything for your upliftment, learning, and growth. Everything that happens, use it for your upliftment, learning, and growth. In the midst of it, ask, what can I learn from this? What can I get from this? How did I end up here? What's the blessing in this for me? Ask yourself that, whatever it is. And don't let it go until you get your blessing out of it, because there's a blessing there. There's a lesson there. There's something for you in everything that happens to you for you to learn from that experience. Look at it, examine it, analyze it, dissect it, take it apart until it reveals itself to you. And then get what you need from that and move on. The next thing is live each day with integrity. Don't try and get over in life. Don't try and cheat. See, a lot of people like to try and cheat. I was with a friend of mine and we went into a service station to get some gas. They gave me back too much change. I discovered it down the road and I was turning around going back. Guy said, "You're a fool. Hey man, what when they don't give people enough change? You think they flag the people down?" I said, "I'm not responsible for them. I'm responsible for me." I went back and I told the guy, "Excuse me, sir, you gave me a $20 bill too much." I gave it to the guy just took it and walked away, didn't say thank you. The guy in the car laughed, said, "I told you, you fool. I'd have kept that." I said, "I'm not responsible for his attitude. I don't care." Knowing that he would not say thank you, I would still give it back to him. Because my image of myself says, hey, you don't take something that doesn't belong to you. That's the way my mother raised me. Don't try and cheat. Say, well, this little bit won't count. Everything counts. I like what Whitaker said, "What you think about me is none of my spiritual business." So when you're keeping integrity with yourself, that's going to bring you under a lot of pressure. See, most people stop short of their dreams and park and get off the highway of life because of the rejections of life. You will always be rejected. It's no big deal. Jack Canfield said rejection is a myth. It's not like when somebody says no and then they slap you. No, it's just, to me, make no your vitamin. Get excited about the no. Why? Because every time someone says no, that brings you another step to a yes. You're getting closer. Trust me, you will win if you don't quit. You will win if you don't quit. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. The other thing is, as you look at yourself and look at your goals and look at your dreams, assess yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you bring to the table? When I looked at becoming a motivational speaker, I looked at all the speakers and I noticed that they were pretty much scripted. So I said, what is it that can make me stand out? I don't have any college education. I don't have any credentials. I never worked for a major corporation. What is it I can do to offset my weaknesses? And then somebody said, well, Les, and this is very important, Mr. Washington, Mr. Brown, yes, sir, what do you want to do with your life? I want to become successful. Good. He said, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. That's why you said you have something special. See, very few people go to seminars and workshops. They'll go to a concert, but showing up to give something that can expand their minds and help them to begin to see their lives differently, to give them a larger vision of themselves, they'll be too busy. Or they say, well, how much does it cost? Well, information costs, but it pays for itself. Here's the other thing is, ladies and gentlemen, let's say it's me. Yeah, see, it's possible you can live your dream. It's necessary that you have the mindset that I'm going to do this. But you've got to take ownership. You've got to decide, hey, I'm going to do this. You've got to take responsibility for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. You've got to decide, it's me. You've got to say, and say this with conviction, I expect to win.
I've said many times that if you get to be 65 or 70 and later, and the people that you want to have love you actually do love you, you're a success. I've never seen anybody that reaches that age. I mean, I'm not talking about somebody that's in extreme poverty or pain or something, but I've never seen anybody that, if they have a lot of people that love them, that is other than happy. And I've seen some very, very wealthy people that they give testimonial dinners to and name schools after and everything. Nobody loves them. By far the best investment you can make is in yourself. I mean, for example, communication skills. I tell the students that come that they're going to graduate schools and business, and they're learning all these complicated formulas and all that. If they just learn to communicate better, and both in writing and in person, they increase their value at least 50%. I mean, if you can't communicate, somebody says, it's like winking at a girl in the dark. Nothing happens, basically. And you have to be able to get forth your ideas. And that's relatively easy. I did it myself with the Dale Carnegie course. Some people wish I'd taken a shorter course now in terms of my talking later on. But it's just hugely important. And if you invest in yourself, nobody can take it away from you. I mean, and the second thing, which I'll get a certain criticism for not living it, but I do tell those students, that if I gave you a car and it'd be the only car you get the rest of your life, you take care of it like you can't believe. Any scratch, you'd fix that moment. You read the owner's manual. You keep a garage and do all these things, and you get exactly one mind and one body in this world. And you can't start taking care of it when you're 50. By that time, you'll have rusted out if you haven't done anything. So you should really make sure that you just remember that you just got one mind and body to get through life with and to do the most with it. Well, life advice is, the most important thing, aside from the things I've talked about already, is really who you associate with. You want to associate with people that are better than you are. I mean, basically, you'll go in the direction of the people that you associate with, and you want to have the right heroes. You want people. If you want to emulate somebody, you better pick very carefully who you want to emulate. And when obviously you can't pick your parents, they're going to have an enormous influence on you, but you don't get a choice on that. But you get choices as you go down the line, and who you admire, who you want to copy, and the most important for most people in terms of that decision is their spouse. It's also important in terms of a partner in business, but the partner in life is the most important one. You want to pick a spouse that's better than you are, and then he or she, and you hope they don't figure it out too fast. Now at 86, I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have gotten older, and I've never seen anybody that is 70 or pick an age who felt good about their children that felt bad about their life. In all my experience, I've seen plenty of people with lots of money that where it hasn't worked out well in the family.
They didn't feel good about their children.
And or the children didn't feel good about them. I mean, but whichever way. I mean, but in other words, they failed at the most important teaching job they had in personal relationship. And sometimes it happens for extraneous reasons, but I really have never met anybody, regardless of their economic circumstances, who felt their life was a failure. I knew one fellow was extraordinarily rich. He put a lot of money in his kid's name. He didn't want them to have any control over it. Once a year, he would have dinner with them and try and get them to sign their income tax return in blank. Now, just imagine that, with, in this case, 4 kids, none of them, he wanted to have enough confidence in them or to have, it's just crazy. I mean, he would woo them during this dinner and they knew exactly what was going on, and once a year, and then he'd bribe them sort of to sign their income tax return in blank so he could file and they wouldn't know what they had. I mean, that when you have adults, I've seen just time after time when people have been successful. I've seen plenty of the other too, but successes in business, a failure, and I don't think they feel that good about life. My greatest satisfaction is just staying in good health. I mean, when you're 86, I mean, you look at this a little differently. I mean, I enjoy every day. The problem of trade is that the benefits are diffused and invisible. So you don't walk in and buy a pair of shoes or some underwear or anything, and it says you just saved 12% because this was purchased somebody. So 320 million people are buying things. The bananas come from Central. They're buying things cheaper than they would otherwise. But the harmful effects, taking somebody out of a job they've had for 25 years when it's too late to retrain them or anything, they're very specific and terrible. Now, what you want to figure out a way is to keep the societal benefits and take care of the people that really are they're the roadkill. basically in this, and there will be roadkill. I mean, there's no sense kidding yourself. I mean, we started with a textile mill at Berkshire. Half our workers only spoke Portuguese. They worked in hot conditions, loud conditions, and they spent 20 or 25 years on looms. When textiles moved elsewhere, their lives, economic lives, were ruined. And that is going to happen. That is part of trade. And the benefits, whether somebody buys whatever textiles we were turning out, handkerchiefs or anything, they may buy them a little cheaper. And we've got to keep the trade benefits everybody, us and them. As a society, it penalizes certain people terribly. And we've got to take care of the people that are getting hurt because we've got the resources.
And take care means what?
It means that somehow you have to have some kind of, you got to have retraining and all that when that's feasible. But it isn't feasible when you only speak Portuguese and you're in New Bedford and you're 55 years old and you spent your whole life on a loom. You've got to make sure that person has an income that's commensurate. We can do it as a society, and we don't want to let the individual case prejudice against trade benefits everybody, but we also don't want to say because everybody's benefited, to hell with this guy. We're rich, we can afford that, and we should do it, and that's how we'll get a good trade policy. Overall, in aggregate, our society will be far richer 10, 20, 30 years ago. And if you just take in aggregate, our children will live better. The real question is will it continue to leave lots of people behind? And a specialized market system will leave people behind. There is, if somebody is, however you want to measure it, 10% below average, there are opportunities in this world today have not improved at all, from 30 or 40 years ago. The classic situation is you take the Forbes 400 in 1982. Number one guy was Dan Ludwig. No, your viewers never heard of him. They had $2 billion. Now that it'd be 30 or 40 times that. 30 or 40 times. And this, more highly specialized economy, year after year, different from that agrarian economy of 200 years ago, it's going to be more and more people at the very top winning big time. And it really won't do, absent certain types of programs, it won't do much for the person that really doesn't have any special skills for the market. The average person, or slightly below average person in terms of particularly market talents, is not going to do very well unless we have policies to make sure that they participate in some way. And the guys at the top are going to keep doing better. Pardon me?
Policies from government.
It has to be government. Government is always, the market system is this traffic cop. It directs resources, it directs brains, and it does a great job of it. But if it also directs all the winnings, it will continually favor more people at the top. Government's always government came in with Social Security, and government, redirects the winnings, so it isn't totally the market system that delivers the winnings. But I don't want to kill the market system in terms of producing things at all. We want more and more stuff, but there will be more and more people falling further relatively behind, and that's not a good result. We can afford it. We can do better. And in this country, if you took the Ford 400, they had $93 billion in 1982, and they have $2.4 trillion now. 25 times as much, not exactly the same people, but take the 400, 25 times as much as 35 years ago. And believe me, that does not strike somebody that's working 40 hours a week and trying to support a couple of kids on it and finding,
and that their incomes remain the same or is less, or
they just aren't participating.
Or they're threatened by forces they can't comprehend.
They can't. The market system just pays more and more. Just think, say you're a middleweight boxer. In the 30s you were limited to, you wouldn't even get on the undercard at Madison Square Garden, and it was limited. But then television comes along, and cable comes along, and pay-per-view, and tens and tens of millions of dollars. So at the top, it's terrific. But if you're the 45th best middleweight in the country, it's pretty much the same as it used to be in the 30s. So the spread gets wider. If you're Frank Sinatra, you're a lot better off if you've got television than if you just play at some theater in New York, like where you started. It's magnified, but throughout. If you've got a good business idea, you can get it capitalized and become worth billions just on the idea. So it's just tougher. Whereas, you go back to 1800, and if you were reasonably strong and willing to work hard, you were worth 90% as much on a farm as the very best guy. It just, the differential, and it'll keep widening. The market system will push it in that direction. But government is there to.
What would you change if you could?
Well, I would change the earned income tax credit big time. Yeah. I just, I am where I am, not by myself at all. I mean, there's 320 million Americans out there, and there's a lot of crosses over at Normandy and everything else, it just, I benefit enormously by having come along when I came along and where I came along. And some people did, and some people didn't. And there's nothing wrong with a market system that rewards anybody that makes life better for millions of people. They ought to get enormously rewarded. But you got to take care of the people that just don't fit well into that particular niche. I mean, if this country paid off based on athletic ability, I mean, I could study 8 hours a day and, and have all these and, I'm still going to, I'll get in the ring or something like that. And 10 seconds later, I'm on my back, So the talents that get rewarded in the market system are important because they bring us more of the goods and services that the country wants. And they make all kinds of improvements in how we live. Just incredible. But they leave people behind, and it won't be solved simply by education. A 2% growth rate, if we have a little less than 1% population growth, which we probably will, in one generation, 25 years now, people have kids a little later, will add 19,000 per capita, family of four, 76,000 to real GDP. So there will be family of four, on average, there would be 76,000 more stuff per family of four in one generation. I mean, we are going to have more, and the goose is going to keep laying more golden eggs. I mean, and we've got a wonderful system.
Thank you for watching our videos. Please like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss another video.